Hey there, everybody. Welcome into the Fallout Shelter. I've got some aviation news for you today that I want to share, and I'm going to bring it to you. I want to share some news with you. It comes straight out of the very conspiratorial place called the Institute of Physics, printed in physics.org. Aviation emissions impact on air quality larger than on climate study finds. This was on November 8th, 2019. New research from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology has quantified the climate and air quality impacts of aviation broke down by emission type, altitude, and location. Now, I'm not going to read every word for this, but it says, when you consider the full flight, which includes emissions from takeoff, cruise, and landing, aircraft emissions are also responsible for around 16,000 premature deaths a year from impaired air quality. I'm fixing to show you quite a few more articles that I'm not going to read all the way through because this just seems like the type of stuff that they would love to slam me for on YouTube. So I'm going to leave the links for it. I'm going to leave the information for it. If you're not willing to look up this information, then you are willingly becoming one of these 16,000 premature deaths a year from impaired air quality that's being reported to you by physics.org, by the Institute of Physics on November 8th, 2019. I myself do not consent to being one of 16,000 premature deaths when it is very controllable. You can go look this article here up, and then in the bottom you can actually explore further where Lufthansa offers climate-friendly fuel, but at a price. I may be doing that in a later video, but they offer a fuel that doesn't make the contrails. So the fuel's there. They're telling us here it's there. Now, I want to also share with you from some other very conspiratorial news agencies. InsideClimateNews.org. Airplane contrails climate impact to triple by 2050, study says. Look at the contrails in there. Look, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm at a point in time where I don't really care what they're called. I don't care what we call them. You can call it a chemtrail, you can call it a contrail, you can call it a cirrus cloud, you can call it a persisting cirrus cloud, you can call it aviation cirrus. I don't care what you call it. The point is that airplanes are controlling the weather. They are controlling and creating clouds, and they are responsible for now 16,000 deaths a year according to the Institute of Physics. Those thin white clouds that jet engines draw across the sky are leaving their mark on the climate. That's according to Inside Climate News. But if you don't like to listen to them and you really like mainstream, well, here's your NBC News. The airplane contrails add to climate change? Yes, and the problem is about to get worse. New research suggests the global warming effect will triple by 2050 as air travel increases. This is their mainstream news, February 27th, 2019. Despite conspiracy theories about so-called chemtrails, there's no evidence that the white plumes seen trailing from high-flying airplanes are part of a secret government program to spray toxic chemicals into the atmosphere for mass sterilization or mind control. Well, mind y'all, at the Fallout Shelter, I've never said they're spraying toxic chemicals into the atmosphere for mass sterilization or mind control. I've said they're spraying toxic chemicals in the air to control the freaking weather. They're making clouds, and you aviation experts, I don't remember your name right now, or I'd call it, who want to go, oh, well, that's persistent aviation condensation. Well, that's exactly what it is, manipulated by aviation fuels in the JP-8s and everything that was changed in the late 90s, according to whatever that UN agreement was with our buddies overseas and changing from the petroleum type fuels into more of the kerosene diesel type fuels. So, if you've listened to this video this far, these are the rest of your very conspiratorial documentation from sciencemag.org. Aviation's dirty secret. Airplane contrails are a surprisingly potent cause of global warming. Imagine that. And if you'll notice, there's a number that's set in here, 2050, 2050, 2050. More on that later. That's come up a lot in the, what do you call the, most people call it Agenda 21, but it's actually called the Sustainability Act of 2021. Then it became the Sustainability Act of 2030. Now it is 2050, and I believe that's when the completion of all of the high-speed rails and everything are to be done, and airplane travel won't be available anyway. From Yale University or Yale Environment. Wow, what a conspiratorial document this is. How airplane contrails are helping make the planet warmer. Once again, I'm not reading all of these. I don't like long videos because most people's attention spans aren't that long. If you're concerned about being one of those 16,000, look into this information. If you're not concerned about being one of the 16,000 deaths, go ahead and comment how it's only water vapor and how it's not hurting anybody and how all is lovely and all is fine, and we'll know which idiots to keep away from when we're out in the real world around you. Global warming is only going to get worse. One reason, those cloud trails airplanes leave behind in the sky. From USA Today. New scientists. It turns out that planes are even worse for the climate than we thought. It goes on and on and on. And honestly, once I started researching this in the mainstream news from the Institute of Physics and other places, plus the countless hours I have spent outside filming the sky, where you can see definitely that there are different fuels at most or least being used in these airplanes when they meet each other in the sky, and they have either one has a short contrail or no contrail, the other has a long persisting contrail. You absolutely can know that one of them is manipulated. And coming soon, the article from Lufthansa that shows you where you have the clean fuels that don't actually burn all these emission problems, and they're going to charge you out the rump for it. Look, I'm going to put the links to everywhere else that I put videos and live stream and all that below. This is the type of information you need to share. If you don't like the way I present it, look up the articles and share it yourself. It's important. Mainstream. Aviation emissions responsible for 16,000 deaths per year. I don't consent to being one of those 16,000, and you shouldn't either. And if you do, they've got you programmed, they've got you by the balls, and they have you exactly where they want you, and you will just fall in line with everything that they want, and that is not what we're going to do here at the Fallout Shelter. God bless you, and have a great day.